Well, long time no see, folks. Right back, where we freaking started. Tom will be joining momentarily. Funny, it's hilarious. This was his idea tonight, y'all. It's something I've been wanting to do, but as I mentioned, I have a very early day tomorrow. Literally have to go, like, speed edit this reaction, and wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and hopefully try to publish the video between now and then. So Tom was like, oh, let's go live, and he's finishing something up real quick, but guys, well, you guys were all right in all different aspects that I wanted to be in denial about. I think we all saw. Also, spoilers. There will be spoiler. I think I put that in the description of this. Maybe should have put it in the thumbnail slash title, but in case you did not watch the finale just now, I know it's hot, fresh off the press. Don't watch this. Yep, there goes Robin's chop. Having a soul go toe-to-toe with Qimir and then just kill him off. The sad part is, though, it's almost very, very, very similar to how I felt when Barisafi died in Tales of the Empire. She had this acceptance and she was ready for it. Not me! Spoilers upcoming indeed. So yes, I put that. I mean, I don't think anybody would click on the Acolyte post-finale discussion and assume that we're not going to talk about spoilers. So, y'all have been warned. Sorry, Cat, but he had to go. Look, unfortunately, I knew that's how it was going to end for him. But you know what they didn't have to do? Drag my man's good name through the dang mud. That almost is what made it worse, because it's like, yes, okay, in that moment, Soul knows it. Everybody there knew it. I don't think they all saw that coming, and I think they all were shocked by the fact that Osha snapped and went that far. But I think Soul in that moment, he accepted it, and I can live with that, because all bad omens were leading in that direction of him, you know, having to pay the price like everybody else, all of his other companions on Brendok. It was only a matter of time before he shared their fate. All I'm saying is they didn't have to freaking go and drag his reputation through the mud. That's almost what makes it all the more painful. That this will be his legacy. This will be it's like, sure, you can kill him and I saw that coming, but they did the double whammy of not just killing him but then framing him. And now this is gonna be how his name is remembered. How do you feel about Osha turning into the Acolyte? Y'all, I don't freaking know. It's sad. It's to see where she went from as a child to this. My biggest hangup is, we've also not exchanged any words, by the way. I literally just finished filming my reaction, and Tom just came in here. So, my biggest hangup is, yes, it was understandable that Osha would snap in that moment and go hardcore and have those emotions and just feel that absolute betrayal and anguish, knowing that she spent so many years of her entire freaking life, everything she ever knew, she put and valued onto Soul and projected all that onto him, that admiration and love, and just care for him. And what's hilarious is Qimir was barking at her, saying, why would you ever go that deep and feel that for someone who can't, it's not a two-way street with the Jedi. You know, there he was poisoning her, telling her they would never reciprocate that with you. And Soul's dying words were that he freaking loved her. That's what's so freaking tragic about it. But when she bled her crystal, she didn't change necessarily. Like, she herself, for example, when Dagon bleeds his crystal in Jedi Survivor, he has a very evident shift, and then his demeanor is so different for the remainder of his story. Like, he has a clear character shift. This, it was like Osha herself was still there. That's why it was hard for me. I don't know, I was just like, I can't believe she's choosing this, because she didn't seem full-fledged corrupted. But I guess at the same time, she was also accepting this to let May be liberated, knowing that Qimir was probably going to kill her. Maybe. I don't know. Well, I'll let Tom talk, because I haven't heard him say anything. Charlie, before, though, thank you so much, my friend, for the super chat. The bleeding, the saber crystal. I know, to see that in live action. Oh, frick, yeah, frick, Yoda. Frick, yeah. Whoops, I didn't even mention that in my freaking commentary after the fact. I was so brain blasted. Darth. Yes, I'm so happy. Also, R.I.P. Soul. Yeah. Lots. My brain was so blasted. That might be my only other qualm. It was so much packed into one. I think they could have split this finale up into two. Or made it an hour and a half long. You know, when I think it was a lot to shove into 40 minutes. They did leave all that. They pretty much strung up all loose ends and... Well, not the biggest one. All right, you talk.
Strung up all loose ends?
They planted like a big seed, obviously.
Strung up all loose ends? Nothing has ended. Nothing. Vestra, like we were predicting, shoves the whole thing under the rug to the Senate just to appease them. She senses Qimir is there. She knows that his apprentice has something to do with this, but she shoves the whole thing under the rug just to appease the Senate. So we don't get closure there. We still have... We know that the Jedi at this point know. Vestra knows that Sol did not end his life. That's what she said to the Senate. That...
No, she knew she was lying. That's why she apologizes to him before she goes and does all of this in his... to blame all that, to pin all that.
Yes, but...
She knows dang well. But that's the crux of it.
We don't have resolution.
She's taking the easy way out. It's so much easier for her to pin all this on him and smother it and it dies with him versus to dig deep and actually accept the fact that there could be a larger threat. It's the whole hubris of the Jedi.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it all the more painful. It's like...
Yes. So we don't get closure on how this resolves. It is open-ended. The biggest thing that this show was setting up was how are the Sith have a role to play here, and we know that they're going to fight the Jedi, and know the Jedi are going to get involved, and they're going to expose themselves, but how does this get shoved under the rug? So this story was just hitting its peak. It hit its peak tonight, and we have no idea what the fate of this show is. Literally no idea.
There better be a season 2. I literally was like, I better go on Twitter and see that it's been renewed. It totally could be. Not just saying that. Like, I cannot believe if they don't. Like, you cannot look at this and the way Kenobi ended. Like, yes, that was a finite thing written and designed to be as one. I do not know how you cannot look at this and say that this is the same thing and that it could end here. They just opened a friggin'. There's so much freaking more.
The story of Sol ended.
Yes,
here.
yes.
That's the only thing that ended. They opened the whole can of worms on Vestra officially shoving it totally under the rug and lying to the Senate, and the tease of actually bringing in the High Council, aka the Grand Master of the Jedi Order, aka Yoda. They tease the true Sith Master with the little hand around the cliff, peeking his Plagueis face out, looking like a complete monster. They tease that. They tease Yoda. They tease the hypocrisy of the Jedi and totally shoving this thing under the rug.
I didn't realize you were so worked up.
And they show us the most brutally, like, one of the... I mean, listen, Anakin's downfall, whole Mustafar battle, all that stuff. Obviously, Revenge of the Sith, my favorite movie. Peak Star Wars, in my opinion, is Revenge of the Sith. But they build this whole show in 16 years of, well, not 16, 12, whatever years, 10 years of Osha's life. Loving Sol and trusting Sol, and they've twisted her to think that it's all May. And then Sol doesn't even have the heart to tell Osha herself. May has to pry the truth out of him, and Osha overhears it. You see her snap in an instant like that, but it's not an explosive snap. It's I am channeling all of my rage and hatred and everything to you. It's straight to Sol. Gets it straight in the throat. Takes him out cold blood. Bleeds the saber in real time with her hatred. All the hatred and anger in her is going to Sol's throat and the crystal in her saber. If you're Amanda Stenberg reading the script of what you're going to have to do in this show, that is like, imagine if you got that script and you were like, oh yeah, I got cast as these twins, but then the end
then
is
like...
it turns to the dark side and chokes out the master and bleeds your saber crystal and then goes off to train on some island with Qimir and Plagueis?
You'd want to keep it going. You'd want to unhash the rest of that. I did not think he'd be so worked up.
Yes, it was such a satisfying end to Soul. He deserved exactly what he got. All the Jedi, Andara, Talaka, Torben.
He did not deserve for his name to be dragged in the mud. And I also am a big believer that you don't have to make that ultimate sacrifice with your life to atone for a mistake in the past. He's been living every day of his life trying to make up for that, trying to be better than that, trying to remedy that, at least via his relationship with Osha. It's not like he did that and has been living with heartless, no remorse about it. However, so I'm a big advocate for, like, I don't think, you know, Ben Solo. No. I don't think characters should have to die to atone for all of their past mistakes, especially since Vestra herself said it perfectly. In the midst of this one fatal mistake, this one flaw, he was still one of the most brilliant, wisest, most compassionate, caring people she knew.
Yeah, Vestra's not innocent here.
That's to say,
she's arguably more guilty.
It's hilarious. It's hilarious that she, of all people, is burying this when it's confirmed now that she maybe had a hand to play in Qimir and all of that. So it's not like her slate's clean. However,
yeah, it just the dirty slate is now onto her.
I don't think Soul deserved to die, but he especially didn't deserve. Yes, he deserves to face the truth and come clean, and he owes it to himself to live with a guilty conscience, to die with a clean conscience, to free himself of that anguish and torture. He does not deserve to have his name dragged through the dang mud, because that's the easiest way out for frickin' Vestra. She's a very interesting character, because this really, like, sealed the deal here. Here she is now wanting to remedy all this with poor May. It's like, girl, you clearly have bigger skeletons in the closet. You've got some baggage, and now you've just committed one of the worst acts of betrayal against your close friend here. Having to live with the fact that you've just tarnished his legacy for your own sake because you're too freaking lazy to get to the crux of it.
It's not laziness. It's not laziness. It's not laziness. It's looking out for herself.
Okay,
and what she's doing what she thinks is best for the Jedi by keeping the Senate unaware, because she's sparing them fear, and she doesn't want to cause panic amongst the whole galaxy. If it comes out that the Jedi are facing some threat that is capable of killing all the Jedi, that Vestra knows at this point, she knows it, and she knows it has something to do with her former apprentice. So it's similar to Soul's story, where he failed May, and now at the beginning of the show, May is alive, and she's killing his Jedi friends. Now, bigger picture, Vestra loses a apprentice, and that apprentice killed everyone, literally everyone, and now she is not telling the truth to her superiors either. So Talaka, Torben, Soul, and Dara did not tell the bottom tier council the truth, and now this show literally ends in the final shot, Vestra doing the same thing, lying by omission to the Senate, and not even by omission, lying. She's straight up lying, because she knows Soul did not kill all of them.
She's bending the truth. She's totally twisting the truth.
She is straight up lying at this point to the Senate, and then it ends with her approaching the High Council and Yoda, and we have no idea what she says. We have no idea what they talk about, because they cut it right when she walks in the door. And Yoda is standing there, floating there, sitting there, waiting for her. And we have no idea. We don't have any closure there. And then now Osha is the true acolyte, the true heir to apprentice of Qimir. Meanwhile, the big bad Sith Master Plagueis, who is the Master Palpatine, is lurking up in the caves, watching their every move. We don't get any closure there. We get a fat tease.
I know, I can't believe...
And then May is brainwashed, by the way. May's brainwashed. And Vestra saying, I need your help to find them. Is she going to undo May's brainwashing? Like, that's the huge cliffhanger, too. Like, we didn't even talk about May being brainwashed yet.
She wasn't brainwashed. They wiped her mind. That's what's also incredibly sad about her arc. Everybody's arcs came to some weird, bitter antithesis of where they started. This awful poetic end for her. You know, she was robbed of her childhood the second she witnesses Soul strike down their mother. and had to fight for her life to survive in the most dire of circumstances, having been left behind, thinking that she lost everything. She was so robbed of her childhood and has now just been reduced back to it. Vernestra concluded, she was like, you literally have the same brain as you had when you were 8. That's all you remember.
No.
She's been sent right back to it. That's the painful friggin' part of it all.
Yeah.
I still think, like, her... I don't know, I guess her motives and intentions always were just she wanted to avenge and, you know, take out the Jedi. I'm more so just... I can't believe... It's hard because I feel like all of this is, like, the same for Osha. You know, the bitter truth of it is she never had a choice as a child, and she was similarly robbed of that when the Jedi left her no choice. Soul especially, to have to come with them after having lost everything and then go train at the Jedi Temple, thinking that's her new family, thinking they're the ones who saved her. She's never had a choice in her life. Obviously, you know, didn't have the choice to friggin' stay with the Jedi, the only people she had left. So it's unfortunate that it's like under the guise of she has finally, the first time ever in her life, she has a choice. And she makes one that you wouldn't think of her to... I can't.
Yeah, that choice is like, I still haven't processed or figured out why she felt the need to stay behind. The only explanation is that she knows that Qimir probably can't have 2 acolytes. We now know that Qimir is a full-fledged Sith apprentice. And we know the rule too. So I don't know that I guess May knows that there can only be 1 acolyte. Qimir must have made that blatantly clear to her, but it doesn't seem like it's blatantly clear to Osha, unless they had a separate chat. But yeah, the decision of May staying behind and Osha just going with Qimir, and why they didn't all just leave together, I don't know. Probably got to rewatch it to maybe pick up on some clues to figure that out. Also, I'm talking probably way louder than usual, and
Has somebody
might be coming off as angry or upset or that I hate the show. And in fact, it's the complete opposite. This is such a tease of a ending, but it's like, if we don't get a season 2, a follow-on of this,
We have to.
that is so incredibly heartbreaking to think about, because this was so good. This laid the seeds of an incredible follow-on to this in every way, shape, or form.
All right,
continuing Vanessa's story, continuing May's recovery of her memory, continuing to see Osha's savage and brutal transition to the dark side. And then obviously you've got the greatest Jedi of all time, the Grandmaster Yoda, popping up at the end, and then the most legendary, mysterious Sith of all time popping up in a 1-frame shot. Like,
all right, I need to cut
so
you off.
much.
I need to cut you off because there was a super chat that we missed. Julian, when did you send this? It must have been before we even went live. I knew Yoda was going to be in it. I doubted y'all. I freaking doubted y'all. And Leslie Headland, she freaking got us. Oh, wait, here we go. Another one from Charlie. Thank you so much, Charlie. Here you go, bringing it back. Tom's my hype. Tom's on one right now. Yeah, it does sound like you're passionately angry about this, but no, it's like you want it to continue.
I'm angry that it's the end.
And I want to confirm...
I want to watch episode 9 next week to continue where this left off, because it's so good. It's been a steady crescendo this whole series. And yeah, it was an awesome, brutal, like, I was watching it and was like, just like in awe, the ending of Soul. But then also what this sets up for future seasons.
Yeah.
It was just a straight upshot for me, the whole show. And it's just building and building and building and building and building. And like, we're just continuing the ride up. There's still so much to unpack here. So we must have a season 2 and a continuation of this story.
I'm gonna cut you off again
Must.
because I want to confirm for Alice. I did receive your donation. Thank you so much. Sorry, you commented this like 10 minutes ago, but we've been going on a rant. But I wanted to let you know that I got it through. Thank you so very much. I appreciate you being here, and you're always one to not shy away from sharing your own opinion, Alice, but hyping everybody else up regardless of what they believe and being respectful. And that's all I can ask for. So thank you. You're my queen for a reason, girl. Thank you. Sorry I didn't confirm it sooner, but we are just clearly on a little bit of a... I didn't
You
really...
always say you want my reaction.
I do, but I didn't realize this is what it was going to be.
And now you're complaining.
Admittedly, you might have liked it better than I did. I think my biggest complaint... It's not that I didn't like it, but it's just like, for similar reasons, this can't just be the end.
Yeah.
I think that's, I don't know if that's a critique or just selfishness, but it speaks to the fact that I liked where this is going, and I feel like I would have loved for this episode to have maybe been like an hour and a half. I feel like it needed that. You can't just plant some of these freaking seeds and not expand upon them. But even if you're not going to expand upon them now, at least give us the satisfaction of a freaking season 2. So that might be, whether you want to call that a complaint or a critique, I think it's just merely, I just want freaking more. If that's the one thing I could change about this show, I just want more time to flesh this out. The certainty that we can get more of this story. Like, I cannot believe, Leslie, if this truly is the end, she's so sneaky, obviously, planting all these little seeds.
She is sneaky and devious, because she said this is a definitive ending.
But it doesn't. It's not.
What?
Granted, in her defense, it's like, well, yes,
Soul
you can get away with it because this is a prequel. It's like, all right, well, we know where all this is going eventually, but to still be able to create a story in which I'm like, well, show me what happens in between. It's like, well, I know where this all ends up, but I'm still very interested into how Qimir now and Osha get roped into this larger story of the Sith and the eventual downfall.
And
yeah,
Yoda
like how
getting involved. Yoda's the only one we know survives all of this.
Yeah.
We have a Palpatine perspective of how Plagueis doesn't survive, but we don't know anything about Osha or May or Vestra or that snarky senator who's poking Venestra's buttons.
Yeah, he really laid it on thick. Yeah, I'd watch a trilogy movie for sure. For real, I feel like there was a lot of... I just hope... I'm gonna be just freaking refreshing Twitter all night long. And again, we probably won't go for very long, folks, because this was meant for us to essentially just get our initial thoughts out, purge a little bit, get it out, like, just share it. But we won't go for too much longer. Just wanted to do a little quick follow-up, but I am gonna be freaking refreshing Twitter all night long, I feel like, waiting for them to confirm that there has to be. I feel like the demand has already been there amongst the people who have been enjoying this show. But now, truly, it's like, well, this was not as definitive of an ending as I thought it would be. There are so many more places for this to go.
The only definitive ending is Soul dying. That's the only thing definitive about this, is that Soul is dead. Literally.
That's it.
Vestra totally still up in the air. The High Council Yoda totally still up in the air. Osha up in the air. Qimir up in the air. May up in the air. And then obviously Plagueis. So there is still... It was a incredible conclusion to the Osha May Soul storyline. But then now you have laid the foundation for the expanse of the characters that still remain, and what happens to the one girl that was split into two, created by using the Force, that scared the Jedi to the point of killing the mother who created them. What happens to them now that one of them is fully committed to the dark side and in the grasp of Plagueis? And I'm curious if you noticed this, but when Soul had his monologue to May about your mother created you with the Force, and then it cuts to Qimir, and he perks up and is listening, and he's like, wait, that's how they were created? So Soul's confession in the ears of Qimir is going to be the reason that Plagueis learns about this ability.
Oh,
As soon as Soul was talking about the you were it was a virgins, and your mother used the Force to create you. You're both the same person created by the Force. He literally said your mother created life through the Force, and then it cuts to Qimir with a inquisitive little smirk there, listening right there.
Yeah, he struck
into
gold.
the confirmation.
He's like, well, frick,
he's like, oh my god,
these are really hot commodities.
this is the ticket to my master. I can bring this power and knowledge back to my master. And he has the birth, the result of that Force life creation in his grasp now. Did you pick up on that?
Yeah.
Did that pop through your head?
Oliver makes an interesting point, though. I don't think Qimir is aware of Plagueis being on the island. And I'm curious if you're right. You know, Plagueis was there lurking in the shadows. And also, why would Qimir so openly be out there convincing Osha, you know, trying to actively lure her to be his apprentice if there can only be two? And he's already working with him as a master. It's like, why would he so openly be trying to summon a new apprentice if he's the apprentice?
That's
serving
how the Sith
a
work.
big... Well, yeah, but why would he be doing that right under Plagueis' nose? I don't know.
Yeah.
There's we need a freaking season 2. I don't think it's out of the question. And I think hopefully popular demand will make it be. But is there anything else you want to say? We might wrap it up again. I'm sorry to keep this so brief, y'all. Unfortunately, my plans for this week turned into me, thank goodness, I was able to squeeze in tonight, and then my week gets a little hectic from here on out. But the universe worked in my favor, unfortunately. I just have a bright and early wake-up call tomorrow, so I'm gonna try to go and edit my reaction as quickly as I freaking possibly can. My commentary is a little bit lackluster at the end because I was just so brain blasted trying to put some of these pieces together and think through this and just accept everything that has happened. But we're gonna keep this short, unfortunately, and you guys will, of course. I don't want to give away everything from my initial yeah, sunrise. It's coming quick, Alice. I literally have to ride at dawn, so we're gonna keep this brief. Is there anything else you have to say? I did not realize you would be so freaking passionate about this. Final words?
Well, I think if there is, obviously the show has gotten a ton of hate and negative commentary has just surrounded the show through all 7 weeks of its airing on TV. But I just hope that people who might be interested in watching the show don't just dismiss it because of all the negative commentary that's surrounding the show. I think for those who are regulars here, know that, I mean, you and I are going to watch every Star Wars project that comes out, and for every show, you know, we're generally positive in receiving of it, but we're not, you know, we don't shy away from talking about our criticisms or questions or critiques or, you know, speculating on things that we thought were going to happen and didn't happen, and maybe things would be better if it was this or that. Like, it's not just all daisies and rainbows over here. But I think for me personally, this is probably, and it's fresh because we just got the finale, but probably my favorite Disney Plus Star Wars project that has come out.
Holy frick!
I think the storyline from beginning to end was consistent and continue to just pique interest and ask questions and give answers at the same pace so that you're kept looped in. Plot wise, like, no real holes for me or anything. I think it connects to the greater lore with the slight new interpretations of legend material. And I am really, really upset at the thought that it's not going to get a season 2 because of how much hate, negative discourse has been surrounding the show so far. But yeah, overall, I love the show.
Dang. Well, looks like folks are agreeing with you. Bob of the Old Ways says, wow, that is high praise, but I might agree. Yeah. I think I share similar sentiments, and you guys have been here through, we went on similar tangents in my couple-hour-long stream last week about the state of the fandom and where people stand with this show, and the fact that you should be able to have criticism and whatnot without getting roped into all of that toxicity that has been surrounding it since it even came out. So that said, regardless of how you felt about this show, you should neither be labeled as toxic nor a shill, as Tom and I are starting to get cold by
Which
others.
Hilarious.
It is laughable.
It is very funny.
It's laughable.
If you watch our conversations, whatnot, around all the other shows, there's definitely critiques, and we definitely speculate and talk about things that are like, oh, maybe should have done this. I think for every single Star Wars show that's come out, and even on Star Wars stuff. So it's not like we only talk about praise and just shove all the criticisms and critiques and stuff aside. I think we're both strive to be honest with how we're feeling. Feeling great because how much did Disney pay? Yeah, we got a fat check from Disney. Fat check. Huge check from Disney.
All that said,
obviously totally kidding. We are in no way paid or sponsored or in the ties with Disney whatsoever. Honest opinions is what you will find here.
I have to cut it off, folks. I have to actually really go put out some quick fires and do some editing. So I will catch you guys in my reaction. Thank you guys for joining us for this, albeit brief, little recap here. Didn't realize how Tom was going to be so passionate about this finale. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for sharing your thoughts. I'm sorry that this has to be so abrupt. I really have to skedaddle, but thank you for joining us. I'll catch you guys. I don't know when, because we don't have freaking Acolyte next week. So I don't know when I'm going to see you guys. Probably for House of the Dragon. Maybe hopefully sooner. But until then, hope you guys have a great rest of your day, night, morning, evening, 3 a.m., wherever you may be. And I will see you guys again very, very soon. Thank you guys for tuning in. And we'll catch you guys again next time.
Yep.
Bye, friends.
Take it easy, all.